Guys, I thought I would end the week just like I did and kind of summarize what we talked about online. Um, you did have a chance to read my policy brief, and it kind of went into detail about medical errors and that the high number of people that are dying as our patients from the things that we don't do appropriately. Not that we cause all of them, but we are part of that mix, physician and practitioner, and also nursing, that can cause medical errors. I thought I would just go ahead and summarize this week by saying I thought team success was awesome and we had a lot of good discussion. I took some notes, so I might look over here to the side every once in a while. So my first question had to do with that nursing infographic, sort of kind of pictorial of where nursing's going and the future of nursing. And most of us really thought that where the key area to focus on was education, just as well as in the next segment when we talk about the next question. Educating our new generation is going to be a priority. One thing that did get brought up, I can't remember who brought this up, but the incentives for DNP, since it's such kind of a newer program in our area, and then I don't think it's really nationally a new program necessarily, but in our area in Illinois at Mennonite, the incentives for DNP, I don't think they're really highly publicized. And so that could be problematic for future nurses even considering wanting to go into the degree. We talked about people not wanting to dedicate the time. It is a lot of work. And I mentioned that, most of us that go back to school probably are kind of geeky in that we really do like academics and education. The other thing we did kind of have a consensus on is that most of our jobs help us with our higher education, but at the end of at the end of it, we don't necessarily know what the outcomes are. If that does help us make more money, what kind of jobs are we getting? And then I think it was Harrison that brought up the point that we don't really know the comparison between the MSN and the BSN. We know that there's some research saying the BSN is better prepared than just having the ADN, but we don't really have a lot of research out there for the other. We did bring up Kathleen and I simulation, and that as educators that is a really good way to present to our students the feeling of anxiety, and also hopefully being proud that you have the knowledge of taking care of your patients and doing the right thing, but it also gives you some experience and that feeling of the experience. Okay, I think that was it for that. The other question that kind of was focused on was, I talked about like what kind of data do we collect, because that always is important in the workplace environment. Our data drives what we do. It tells us how well we're doing with our patient safety and that kind of stuff. And several people discussed the NBN-QNI sensitive indicators, and that they work with those on a daily basis, or they work with them when they're teaching at clinicals. And so those things like falls with injury, HAPU, CLABSI, CAUTIs, and surgical site infection, central line problems and things like that are always going to be top priority, as they are nationally. And so that that is a workplace initiative and drive, and we always are looking at the data to see how we can improve ourselves. Overwhelmingly, our group emphasized the need for kind of a formalized assessment to help prevent some of these things from happening to our patients. Kathleen brought up a really great point about the workplace environment, because that's one of her interest areas, and she talked about an assessment of the workplace itself, and like what are the qualitative factors, and are we doing a good job collaborating? Are we doing a good job? Are the managers doing a good job with their work ethic and their collaboration on the unit? So she showed us a tool that an assessment that was really interesting to me, that I thought that really makes sense, because we think about the patients, but we also have to think about the workforce, because if we don't have a happy workforce that is informed and does has a nice environment to work in, then it's going to be challenging to get those patients satisfied and get them what they need as well. Another thing that got brought up was the fact that there are programs out there like Sensor, and this is also like a safety event reporting